Boom! According to that, I am live. Welcome. This is Tokyo Tonight. My name is Hiko Simon. It is 10:32 p.m. Japan Standard Time. Just doing some setup and playing around with all sorts of different stuff. Hope that my sound is okay. Hope that you can all see and hear me okay. It's great to see you. It's been a actually beautiful couple of days in Tokyo. We had a couple of days where it was like in the mid-20s, probably as cool as it's going to get for the next few months. Bit sunny and humid today, but not like crazy Tokyo hot like it can be. So yeah, it's been a beautiful day. Hope that you're all well. If you haven't checked out on Tokyo Digital Crew, thanks to everybody who participates, including even today. I saw Tadam voted just before, and leaves votes on A or B, DJ Sunny Side Up, and I basically anonymize the mashes that we do each week. And it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun making them. We're going to keep doing them every week. In fact, DJ Sunny Side Up, if he's in the comments, I think he's already decided the track for the next week, which we're going to battle on, which may excite some of you, may terrify some of you, but it's been really, really fun. And actually, one big fun part of it was lately I'm going and getting the original video clips from the YouTube videos from the tracks that I'm mashing, and I won the battle this week. And for my track, I went and I mashed in myself live DJing with the original music videos sped up to match the music the way that I was DJing it. And it came out really, really great. I mean, I did this last week as well. So go check those out on Tokyo Digital Crew. It's something I put a couple of hours of work into today, and I like how it came out, even though the videos are kind of low res. It came out in a good vibe. So thanks to everyone who voted. Even if you voted for the one that I didn't make, I mean, just supporting it is awesome. And we both just really enjoy doing it so much. Including the diss videos that we do before it. I think it's all part of the fun of it. So we're going to keep doing that. So do subscribe and support Tokyo Digital Crew on that. And thanks to everybody who does support and watch. Go check out the winning video. I just put it up. And, you know, we'll definitely, I think DJ Sunny Setup's going to upload his video on there as well. But it's a lot of fun every week. So thanks to everybody for that. Going to the comments, who's in here? We've got Cobras Tenchi in here first. You made it in here first. DJ Sunny Side Up in here second. We've got Dan H already throwing a squirrel in, which I have gone and tweeted about. Or did I? Oh, wait a minute. I put it on. I didn't do it on the right thing. I did look this up. Anyway, so I have your squirrel. The QP decision tax is baby food business. I just read the article. I hadn't heard of this news, actually. I haven't been getting any coverage. I guess you saw it in the Financial Times or something. But yeah, not much to comment on here other than for those of you, if you've lived in Japan and you want to buy mayonnaise, it's Kewpie mayonnaise. And the Kewpie doll, I think I actually had a Kewpie doll when I was a kid. I don't know how I could have had a Kewpie doll when I was in Australia, but I definitely had a doll that looked exactly like the Kewpie doll logo anyway. You know, like when I was 3 years old, I got pictures of myself holding this sort of plastic sort of baby toy thing. But that aside, not sure how I had a Japanese, I mean, it's not actually a Japanese character mascot, but that all aside, Kewpie famous for baby food and mayonnaise. And if you get mayonnaise in Japan, it tastes a particular way. If you get mayonnaise in New Zealand or Australia, I don't know how it is where you're from, but mayonnaise generally tastes sweet and tangy in New Zealand. And honestly, I don't like it anymore. I've come around to the Japanese way. I go back. And to me, it just tastes like they put too much sugar into it. It doesn't taste good to me anymore. I don't know if where you're from, it's sweet or it's tangy. But the Japanese mayonnaise definitely leans more towards sort of, it has more of a cheesy sort of a flavor and less sweet. I think it's closer to what American sort of mayonnaise is. It has admittedly a bit of a processed taste. But there again, I mean, the sugar syrup that, you know, New Zealand and Australia mayonnaise is, the sort of coleslaw type mayonnaise. Also, I think is problematic. I've come to appreciate food that's less sweet. Yes, I've become Japanese in that regard. So yeah, there was actually, I remember when I was in New Zealand, just before I left, there was a time when there was like a contaminated or an expired batch of eggs apparently were included in one of the batches of Kewpie mayonnaise, and as a result, the whole thing was recalled everywhere just for safety, and they said don't sell it. And so there's a Japanese supermarket in Auckland where I was living where they took it off the shelves. However, a Japanese friend told me the secret password that apparently if you went to the supermarket and you asked if they had an akachan, in fact it was literally akachan mayonnaise. If you said akachan mayonnaise, they'd go and get you one of the forbidden bottles of Kewpie mayonnaise from Outback. I said I was okay. I didn't want to risk my life eating Japanese mayonnaise. I was still, at that time, my palate was still more New Zealand-y. But you know what? It's a point. Kewpie is so associated with baby food Its logo is a baby. It has baby food, and yes, its big money earner is of course the fact that pretty much is the only brand of mayonnaise in Japan. I mean, if you like any other flavor of mayonnaise, you are completely out of luck. If you are, by the way, if you want to try what Japanese mayonnaise tastes like and you don't have Kewpie available, the American brand Best Foods mayonnaise tastes pretty close. And this is what desperate Japanese people buy around the world when they eat mayonnaise. This turned into a big conversation about mayonnaise, which isn't really relevant because the mayonnaise is still being made. But the point is, apparently Kewpie has decided that its whole baby food division, which is a big part of its corporate identity, they are stopping making baby food because ain't no babies. And inflation has made the costs of the business, has made the margins go down, and there's fewer and fewer babies every year. And this is one of these things where I must admit, I had this blindly optimistic idea that depopulation just meant that we could all stretch out our legs and enjoy a bit more room and have a bit more of a luxurious lifestyle. But actually, no, anything around kids, as it winds down, it's like it actually becomes progressively less convenient. As they close schools and whatever, the schools actually become, everyone has to commute longer distances. It's harder to find baby sort of products and shops and all these sorts of things. And this is something that's happening in Japan, and it's happening in Japan first because it really started here in the 80s. But it's coming to a town near you, and that is a town, whether that is a town near you in America or Europe or Saudi Arabia or India or Africa. It is actually, the birth rate decline is happening almost everywhere, except a few places like in Africa, which are going to be where the center of world power is going to be like 50 years from now, based on current birth rates. But yeah, Kewpie mayonnaise, Kewpie is tapping out of the baby food business, and that is just another sign of probably, again, I think people, Western, it's just like with the pandemic, people should be really taking what's happening in Japan more seriously. I think we so intuitively always assume that, and frankly, it's a type of silent racism that people assume that what's happening in Japan, Japanese are just so different. Their culture is so different. They're such different people. They're like aliens that some people think that they like develop separately on Earth or whatever. And they're really not. Japanese are people, and the things that are happening are going to happen, and everyone's going to act surprised when they find out retroactively that the same things will happen. I think people should be studying Japan and paying a lot more attention to Japan as a developed modern economy, where a lot of these things that are happening right now are going to happen to you, including major baby food manufacturers going out of business. So there you go. Dan H, nationalize the baby food. But the thing is that even the government doesn't really care. They care about the old people who not only are increasing, but they vote. You know, babies don't vote. If babies could vote, they would be nationalizing the baby food, you know, but yeah, the conversion over, and this is another thing that Kewpie itself is, looks like they're going to focus more on elderly people food. I mean, I don't know, at some point, doesn't it like become similar? I don't know how that works exactly, but yeah, and this is another problem with, you know, with babies. Essentially, if people don't want them, they don't have votes to reply. So yes. Anyway, getting back into the greetings, we got Odie Jr. Whoa, says Odie Jr. Great to have you in here early. Bada bing, bada boom. Good to have you in here. Yes, Odie Jr. Got Sadiq in here. Great to have you, Sadiq, coming in from Florida. We have that's me with the other account logging in saying, come over and check out the premiere, which you should go check out, but not now. Check after all the shows are done. We've got Lara in here. Believe in Yourself is in here saying hello to everybody. We've got Lara in here. We've got Jane Motz in here with a big pink wavy hand. That is cool. Nearly time for Tokyo Tonight. How is everybody doing? Hope everybody is doing well. That's a good question. I should have asked that myself. Todama's in here who just voted at the last minute. Although, yes, it was already fairly settled. But thank you, Todama, and thank you everybody else who voted. I think I saw Jane Motz voting, and I saw Lara voting, and I saw Believe in Yourself voting. And I do love it when you come in, and even if you're not voting for me, I just love everyone participate. So that is a good thing. Quentin Rankin, good to have you in here. As always, hope you are doing very well today. And getting ready for some news that will minimally discuss America. Well, it's a little bit unavoidable in the circumstances at the moment, but we'll do our best. Yoni, a man from Finland, in here. Also great to see you. Who else we got in here? We got Aaron, 8 likes. You're gonna like the new song from DJ Sunny Side Up for the next mashup battle. He's picking the next track, and yes, you're gonna be very, very, very excited, Aaron. So you know, hold on to your chair for that. Who else we got in here? We have, I think I've said hello to everybody. We've got Project X01. Good to have you in here, Project X01. waiting for me. Some people are waiting for me. We've got sound is good. I'm glad to hear it. Be kind of, yes, I would have been talking for exactly 10 minutes at this point when I discovered that the sound was bad if it wasn't. Elmanox, great to have you back in the chat, Elmanox. Nice to see you and everybody else in the chat, of course. We've got, who else we got in here? We got Yoni's drinking. Moogie Chad, we're doing, I think Dan H did a drink call on everybody. Yes, QP is Aaron's favorite mayo. Well, yeah, pray for QP mayo because they're giving up on the babies, and literally babies are the brand of the mayonnaise. So I don't know. What do? Do they replace the baby logo with like an old person logo? I mean, they'd still be in diapers. I don't know. I don't know how this works. The world is changing. If you live anywhere and want to buy proper mayonnaise. So I have become a member of Team QP, although I didn't really understand it till I'd been here quite a while actually, but there we go. Black Tengu back in Athens. I'm sorry that you're no longer on a, not quite tropical, I suppose, but I suppose tropical-ish weather. I'm sure your holiday in the Greek islands was wonderful. In Athens, I mean, Athens is like crazy hot right now, right? I mean, all of Greece is. Yeah, well, anyway, hope that you are... hope you're enjoying being back and enjoying the excellent food. Man, Greek food is just like the best. I gotta go to Greece. One day I'll be announcing I'm going to Greece. By the way, I am going to Korea for 2 days for work. So if you're in Korea, I probably can't see you. But that'll be week after next. In fact, I am flying on Sunday night. Oh, that's a point. I'm flying there Sunday night. It's a public holiday in Japan too, so I'm working on a public holiday, which sucks. Which might make Tokyo Tonight difficult because I think I will be flying actually when on the 20th, week after next. So in fact, hang on a sec, that's next week. Plan ahead, Hiko, plan ahead. Okay, next week, heads up. I might do a Tokyo Tonight on Saturday, maybe. We'll see how it goes. I might play it by ear. I think I won't. Let's just say for now, I won't be doing Tokyo Tonight next week because I'm going to Korea. If you're in Korea, I might be able to say hi the Monday. I've got something going on, maybe on the Tuesday. Also, if you are in Brisbane, or Brizzy, as people from Brisbane say, if you're in Australia, I will be in Australia next month for 1.5 weeks. The internet in Australia is famously terrible. I may try to live stream the show that I do on August the 10th. But yeah, again, if I've done some great meetups in Australia, actually. I'm always surprised how many people down there are watching or lurking or whatever. So just so that you know. I'll be in Brizzy and let me know if you want to do a meetup or something. I'm thinking I might go along for a rugby league match or something. Well, I'll be there with the lad. But yeah, it'd be cool if we can fit in a meetup or something like that. Yes, but I look forward to the day. This was another squirrel. I look forward to the day I can do a meetup in Athens because that would be freaking awesome. We've got talking about orange juices, an Alessi orange juicer, which is like the Lamborghini. In fact, it's a bit classier, so I think we'd have to say Ferrari. It is the Ferrari of orange juices. That's very impressive, I assume. Something about Japanese juice being full of MSG that I'm not going to read because I don't want to know. Same with QP mayonnaise. I don't want to know what they put in it. I just want my dealer to bring it to me and leave it, no questions asked. Anyone else who got DJ Sunnyside Up here? Miracle Whip. Wow, we got all this stuff going on here. DJ Sunnyside Up. Feel free to announce what the next MASH track is going to be. Yes, we've got all of that. Miracle Whip. Not liking Miracle Whip. Controversial topic already raised. The primary reason why you're interested. I mean, seriously, Dan H, you are you're a scholar and a gentleman, I believe is the phrase. But yeah, it's baffling to me that everybody just ignores. And it's been proven correct in so many ways, so many times. And yet, and even with the tourists coming here, like Japan is kind of starting to get discovered. But even with all the tourists coming here, people still haven't quite figured it completely out. They're figuring it out more than they used to. But there we go. Damn babies. You got to, that's right. You got to get out and vote. I mean, think about it. Babies get taxed and they don't even vote. I mean, America had a whole war of treasonous secession, I think they call it, over there. So, yeah. What do we got in here? Old people can eat baby food. They can. Maybe they should have just rebranded everything. Who knows? Declining birth rates, not so bad. It's kind of, I mean, I grew up in the 80s where, literally Captain Planet episodes were saying, too many babies. They didn't say exactly stop fucking so much. They came out with like a human replicator thing. And I remember lots of Catholic groups, I think in New Zealand, objected to the episode. But yeah, we were all being told that we were going to literally eat all the food like locusts. And by 2040, everyone on Earth would starve to death because of overpopulation. And now we've got, underpopulation. I guess maybe we were too successful. What can we do? A Johnny Somali update in Korea. It's funny. I don't follow it closely, but I did notice some updates the other day. There are plenty of updates on there, but at the moment he remains in jail, or is he in jail? He certainly is going through a trial, where I believe he is in detention as well, and they keep adding charges to him. He keeps fucking around with the courts, and I tell you what, the Japanese courts basically gave him a bit of a fine. And, kind of tortured him with procedure, but eventually just said, pay a fine and get the hell out of the country, which he did, promising to never make a video again. I believe he went to Israel where they don't fuck around there. And he decided to go to South Korea after that. But he's facing like up to something like 30 years jail over there at the moment. So, yeah, definitely. There are people covering his thing day by day. Sometimes I check in and watch that. Again, I don't really care about it any more than that, other than, the Schadenfreude of, it's like he's capitalizing on that type of virality. I don't really understand it, but there we go. Here is the track for this week. Get ready. We will be mashing Justin Bieber's song Baby. That will be the battle mash this week. So we've got our work cut out for us. But that was DJ Sunny Side Up's choice. But we're going to see how we can, I don't know. I'm going to get super creative with this one. It should be a lot of fun. So the Hellmans, I don't know what Hellmans is. That mayonnaise? I don't know, but it's going to be awesome. The American Civil War. Oh, actually, that is true. I'm making a humorous take from the British perspective of what the independence of America was. But of course, nobody actually calls it that. And frankly, everybody, including probably the British, are glad that America is its own thing, honestly. And not in a negative way towards America. I think the world's better for America existing as a separate thing. But would it be illegal to bribe the judge to give? Honestly, I think it would be a seriously bad judgment to bribe the judge to give him a few extra years. Not because you could get arrested and go to jail for it, but because he's going to do it anyway. I mean, geez, all you have to do is probably ask him politely, given the way he's behaving in court. Okay, we've got Minnie's mum. Hello, everyone. Nice to have you in here, Minnie's mum. That is a new handle name. It's always great to see a new handle name. Also, great to see an old handle name. We got the master back in here. Great to see you. Long time no see. Okay, let's get into the topics. Was secession really treasonous? I think secession is inherently treasonous, but until it works anyway. I mean, that's it. So long as, if you lose, it's treason. If you succeed, it's a war of liberation, right? First war of war is don't lose. So congrats, America. Britain doesn't get to call it treason because they broke the first rule. Okay, let's get into the topics that we have. We got here Redmond Candy, Minnie's mum, welcome from the Tokyo Drew Legacy crew. Okay, we've got Turkish Airlines. By the way, before I dive into it, there is another squirrel I'm gonna chase all on my own at the moment. But unpopular fact. Well, actually, I'm curious. Here's another squirrel. Okay, I've got two squirrels here. I'm going to talk about Air India Flight 171 in just a moment because it's kind of interesting. Elmanox, unpopular fact, the main issue is where birth rates are declining and where overpopulation is happening. The places with exploding birth rates are places without sufficient natural resources. Well, there aren't many places with exploding birth rates anymore, and where they are the places where, frankly, I mean, the developing world is, in most of the developing world even has declining birth rates. But for example, African countries have plenty of natural resources, actually. It's just they're always being exploited by the people. So, wow. Independence Day. Wow, I'm sorry, Aaron, gonna agree to disagree on that being a good movie. Maybe I can watch it this time. I don't know. As a non-American, you always find these things a little bit too much, but there we go. Raymond Candy. Oh, I missed that. You're actually in the thing before, but welcome. And yeah, probably don't want to go to Philly. Well, yeah, I tell you what, if he wants to attract hate, going to Philly is the right way to do it. Okay. Uh, Air India Flight 171. The interim crash report came out. I actually work with a guy who is a huge air crash investigation nerd, and we talked about it. I've also just been following it. Everyone was talking about, this is the one where the plane it took off, and then as it was in the middle of taking off, it suddenly seemed to like drop out of the sky and landed on top of a university dormitory, killed a whole bunch of people on the ground, and everybody on the plane except for the person sitting at seat 11A, which is not at the back of the plane where the survivors typically are. It's near the front. It's forward of the wing on the plane. But this one person in this one seat not only survived, but walked away when everybody else died. And everyone was saying, what could have caused the Boeing 787, I believe it was dash 8 version, relatively recent sort of version of the plane. What caused this thing to drop out of the sky? And the first instinct was, oh, this is another Boeing problem. The second thing was a lot of people watching and suggested that the plane lost its lift because maybe the flaps were set incorrectly. However, it's been confirmed the flaps were all correct. They were in the correct position, the 5-degree position as they were supposed to be. So the interim crash reports come out and it's pointed out that the fuel was cut off to both of the engines at the same time. There is apparently a switch where you can shut off the fuel to the engines. And apparently, because the engines run on different systems, it's always designed that it can fly on one engine. So to lose two engines through any kind of mechanical failure when the systems are independent and redundant just doesn't make any sense. And it appears that, yes, both were turned off for 30 seconds and then they were turned back on again. So when the plane crashed, the fuel was running, but the black box showed that the fuel was cut off to the engines. And then one of the pilots told the other pilot, we don't know which one was which, said, why did you do that? And he's like, I didn't do it. So there's a slight, the conspiracy theory side still says, oh, maybe something was wrong with the switches, but it does appear that it was actually done either as a mistake or on purpose by a person. And it's hard to know. There are a lot of videos now going into, whether you can do that by mistake, and apparently not, but it's fascinating. It's sad. Hundreds of people died. It gives some assurance if you're flying that this one doesn't appear to be a fault with the plane, at least right now, but there are still some people who are not sure about that, but it does appear to be pilot error at this point, as Sadiq says. But fascinating one to watch anyway. And as Kerber says, everyone's watching the same stuff. They're hard to toggle by accident. Some conspiracy theorists are suggesting that it is, and it's not. They're just looking for something like that. But anyway, it's super, super interesting. Aaron thinks it was intentional. We might never know. But certainly the voice recording showing that the fact that he said, why'd you do that? And it's like, I didn't do it. That's a weird conversation, but they only had literally 10 seconds. So anyway, now into the topics. It is 10:55. We have 35 minutes left. Going to do an after party tonight. I'm also going to try to finish by 12:30 because I do need to be functional on Monday, which I often aren't. When I enjoy the after party too much, it is late at night. And I'm like a mess. I'm drinking 4 coffees and tripping over myself at work on Monday. So I'm keeping it to 12:30. But what do we got in here? We talked about the QP stuff already. Thank you, Dan H. By the way, you're always willing, of course, welcome to request topics and questions or whatever. So do that in the comments. But what have we got here? The first one that we've got. Oh, I did put it in here. Yes, QP is ending its baby food business. So basically citing inflation and just bad economics. Saw a news, they did this article on how 7-Eleven has for the summer introduced extra large sizes of coffee for iced coffee, which literally they're just charging you 50 yen more for a super size, but it's just made up of extra ice. They're selling you ice at a premium. Convenience store coffee in Japan is amazing. You can see that they made these machines where you can see the beans in the machine, the coffee beans, and it grinds the beans fresh in the machine and gives you freshly ground. The robot inside these massive coffee machines grinds and makes the coffee in front of you. And for 260 yen at Family Mart, you get an enormous latte, frothy top, excellent tasting. I mean, again, it's not as good as, a proper barista coffee, but it's not what you would expect from a convenience store. It is seriously great coffee. And basically all the convenience store chains in Japan use the same sort of machine. And in terms of a coffee that you can have for less than $5, and by US dollars, these cost less than $1.50. In fact, if you're going for normal sizes, they cost like $1, and they are amazingly good if you're a coffee person. 7-Eleven is trash. The coffee tastes okay, but their L size is smaller than the S size at Family Mart. So honestly, saying that they've got an XL now is, it's like this is like in baby sizes. I don't know if babies drink coffee or not. Probably, maybe that's why there aren't so many babies anymore. I don't know. But their XL, when they just threw some ice in it and they said, hey, this is an XL. This is a Family Mart like beats. 7-Eleven is a great convenience store. It has some great products. The chicken katsu sandwich is a classic. I'm a big fan of the Goya champo, like heated up. For breakfast, I often eat the vegetable sticks. 7-Eleven is rocking it on most categories, but with coffee, it needs to lift its game, and this is not the way to do it. They should say that the L size is an S size, and XL should frankly be an S or an M or something like that. But they're talking. Thank heavens, you're not. Are you talking about juices, or are you talking? Oh, the maintenance. I thought you were talking about the coffee machines, and I was actually freaking out. I should be, given that I will be flying this time next weekend, I should be worrying about the maintenance of the airplanes more than the coffee machines. But if I'm being completely honest with you, I'm more worried about the maintenance of the coffee machines. If someone said to me that the coffee machines that I love so much in these convenience stores, that their maintenance was questionable, I don't know, I'd have a crisis. It'd be like the Kewpie mayonnaise. I'd be asking for the Akachan coffee. I'm going to move on. But anyway, this is a really important topic. If you come to Japan and you drink coffee, you should try the convenience store coffee, but don't try frickin' 7-Eleven. Family Mart and Lawson both have superior sizes and all of that. So, continuing on, it's kind of do go on and talk. I mean, it is fascinating, the air India thing. I talk about Japan stuff, but I do also fly, and it's just a really fascinating case. The government wants its people, probably the only government in the world, saying, hey, everyone, I mean, the only, my brain went in a direction that I'm not going to share. The government's encouraging you to look at things on the internet is pretty rare, I think, in the world. Including generative AI. Hey, yeah, exactly. Make more, poodles play, that is an adorable dog, by the way. More cute animals playing with computers. But they are noting that where overseas there are productivity gains being done by countries using generative AI. In Japan, the uptake is pretty low. I think I've shared before. My view on this is that actually in Japan, companies are very conservative about making formal decisions to ever, to even go take a crap, frankly. The committee meetings and the meetings for the meetings, they take a long time. But what's probably happening in the background is that, in my experience, generative AI is being used by everybody, even at work, without any guardrails, because if they say that they're doing it officially, then it'll take them 20 years to make the manual for using it. So I think it is actually being used more than is being officially recognized, but officially use of AI in Japan is relatively low, which is a shame because you have companies like Sora AI, which admittedly is a bunch of American Googlers who wanted to set up their own AI startup, and they realized that Japan has the most AI-friendly laws in the world and came to Japan to set it up and are creating out of Japan some of the best AI sort of model technology anywhere. Like they're coming up with models, they're a bit like DeepSeek. They're coming up with ways of making models smarter with less, which is competitive with OpenAI. So Japan is kind of doing okay in its way, but Japanese people are not doing great and they're not using it. So the government's saying, hey, go make a picture of a monkey on roller skates or something. Somebody asked me, do I use generative AI? And yes, I do use generative AI. For example, I mean, on the rap battles, I have to anonymize who it is. We can't have Sunny or myself like giving away who's making the music. So of course I use it for the thumbnails for that. I mean, not, the thumbnails and the background graphics. If I wasn't doing that, honestly, I'd go find something on the internet, which probably belongs to someone, at least if I'm generating something new. I'm not directly copying something, not knowing whether, the owner of that is offended, setting aside the whole debate as to people whose data was used to train those AIs without their consent for a moment. But also at work, I would say there are things, for example, in my personal life, I've used it for brushing up on Spanish and stuff. It's great as a little language chat partner and as a grammar checker and so on. I use it for coding, for vibe coding. I've made a whole bunch of little programs that I use for work, including I made a proofreading app where I give, when there's docs I want to turn into audiobooks. There are plenty of sites that do this for free. But I made my own version of it that works exactly the way that I want it to work. It reads super fast by default. It reads with Japanese voices, Japanese documents and stuff. I couldn't have never have coded it by myself, but I used ChatGPT to code it, and it's awesome. I do that every day. I've got like aspects of work, which again, I won't talk too much, but even in my last job, for example, my previous job, whenever I'd have to review a contract, we had like a checklist, a 50-page checklist of items that we had to go through. Sometimes you have a one-page contract that were supposed to check against a 50-page checklist, which frankly was stupid. Over time, you do start to memorize the whole playbook, but but still, the time it takes to go through the list, was ridiculous. So you can take generative AI and you can train your own personalized LLM based on these whole 50-page playbooks, and you can just give it the facts and say, hey, what triggers, or what, based on these facts against this playbook, what are the steps I should do? And the quality is good enough now that you can pretty much, it saves you like an hour of going through these sort of guides and run books. That and in I always double check and verify that the output that I got is accurate. And where it used to hallucinate like crazy, it really is quite reliable now. You should always double check, especially if you're a lawyer, because there's so many cases now of lawyers getting disbarred because generative AI just made up cases that they then submitted, and they're getting actually punished and disbarred for it. But but if you use it appropriately and intelligently, it is pretty useful, and I am using it for those. I'm not a heavy user by any means either, but I'm finding it super useful for those things, for language learning, for work, for putting graphics on my videos and stuff like that. It is super good. The master, I'd be surprised how regulated Gen AI is. I know how regulated it is there, and it's scaring all the developers away to America. You're working for a development house that develops software for other countries, and even contractors already have established guidelines for internal usage of AI. Our companies will establish additional guidelines to do so, even though we're heavily integrated into this project. Well, this is the EU AI Act. Basically means that if you want to start an AI startup in Europe, you need to hire like your first 15 hires need to be like 3 developers and 12 lawyers, which as a lawyer. You'd think I'd be for, but I'm really not. It's and the fact that you have to comply in multiple different countries at the same time. This is why America is doing well at this, and also why everyone thought that the European AI Act was going to be like GDPR and everyone would copy it, and everyone's not, because they've seen what it's done, how it's stunted development of AI in Europe. And Japan doesn't want that, so Japan's decided to go super liberal on this as a result. Dan H dislikes AI because it makes you lazy, lose muscle memory, and find that there are too many hallucination errors. It's progressing. The hallucinations happen less now. Part of it is how you use it, and part of it is just that the models are improving rapidly. Laziness is a thing, but there again, I mean, it's like washing machines. It saves people from, manually washing clothes, which used to be a significant source of labor and hardship for people. I use the example of my DJing all the time, how it just takes time away from manual labor and checking, and just lets you focus on the strategic and the thinking work that you want to do. I see it as a productivity enhancer for now, although of course everyone is talking about how full automation will make it probably more than that. And I can see an easy world where within a few years we could be working for the AIs, but for right now, it's what you got to keep an eye on it, because it is rapidly advancing, and it is really useful. I don't use it heavily, but I do find it useful for certain things. Can't they just use AI for the lawyers? You know what? I say this as a lawyer. I think a lot of legal work is ripe for automation by AI, but it's not there yet. Just the fact that all these people who did that, who just used, instead of getting a junior associate to go find their cases and prepare, their court filings, they just asked an AI to do it, and the AI made up cases and was wrong. And the lawyer who wanted to save the money on an associate by using ChatGPT, they literally lost their qualifications over it. So they can't use AI for lawyers yet. Lawyers are tried. The people who are trying to do this are lawyers. But I think the day is close, and I'd like to think it'll mean that professional lawyers will be able to do more for more people, at least in the short term. But we'll see. It doesn't sound like fun work, to be honest. Well, it can be. I think it takes the most boring work, like for example, take legal profession. The most boring work you could do, there's two jobs which are considered the most laborious, which I've done both. They're both different. One is due diligence, which is when you're going to take over a company and you have to read every contract and every employment about the whole company. That seems boring, but the thing about that is you're learning everything about that company and how it works. And your job is to go through and understand the company deeply and figure out what are the strengths and weaknesses and how it should be valued. I love due diligence. Due diligence is where you just get to be basically, you look at the whole company like it's a huge Wikipedia and you get to go through the whole thing. I mean, you have to be interested in the company to find it interesting, of course. The other one is discovery, which is when you're looking for evidence. It's when you say, give me all of your emails from last year so I can see if you sent any emails admitting to the crime. And that's when you get dumped with 50,000 emails that you need people combing through every email, looking for evidence of something that might not even be there. And that is awful. And both of those tasks, I think AI will take a lot of the manual lifting out of it, especially for discovery, which I don't think humans should be doing at all. So there'll be a lot of room for improvement on that. I think on due diligence, though, well, even on due diligence, I think it would save a lot of time knowing, hey, how many contracts are there where we'll need to go get permission for the takeover or something like that. So yeah, I tons of, and obviously I think every profession that involves human thinking, when you can automate that human thinking, is going to be affected by this. But yeah, manually washing clothes is significantly better than machine washing. Yes, it is. But do you want to do it? Is the question. Is your life going to be better for manually washing the clothes? I mean, sure, it might be better if you can pay someone to manually wash it. And there are people that do that, but the vast majority of people find that machine washing is good enough. And the other benefits that it brings, that it lets people wash more clothes, get on and do other things in their lives, are why we, lots of things are better done manually, but there again, industrialization of certain tasks and, the automation of certain tasks has improved living standards. And we've adopted automation where it's done that. AI is going to be the same. And the Japanese government knows that. So it's saying, hey, be more nerdy, nerds. And yeah, am I following the Diddy case? Not closely, no. Or baby oil, lots of baby oil is all. I mean, the fact that I think it was a bit of a stretch, honestly, saying that he was a mass trafficker. I mean, yeah. Now I'm thinking of Epstein. The fact that now they're saying, after all the hype that they were going to reveal all the Epstein secrets, they're saying that basically Epstein is the same as Diddy. And that they didn't traffic anyone for anything other than their own use. That all of these things was basically them. They never had any guests. And if they did, they were just social guests and they never partook in any of the sex stuff. Even when they went to the island, they just went, ate a few crackers and got the plane back and never partook in the thousands of videos that supposedly exist and the client, and supposedly that that just like Epstein apparently without being a qualified lawyer or financial advisor made his money giving legal and investment advice and got all that money from being graded at without being qualified in spite of everything, so there's that. And the Diddy thing as well, the fact that it does actually appear that maybe Diddy was just doing it all for himself. It certainly comes across as an asshole who should be in prison, if not for the things that he was being charged with for trafficking. I mean, just the assault and so on, and the cases. I don't know how he's not being charged with that. So I followed it, but yeah, anyway. It's a slippery business. It is indeed. Hide your baby oil, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Yes, all of that stuff. Let's keep going. Japan needs to use more AI. Someone asked if I use it myself, and I said, yep, but not a ton, but I use it. A lot with the elections coming up. I think the Japan elections are going to be, 5 days from now? So it is going to be, I think, the 11th of July. Upper house elections in Japan. All the parties are campaigning over vote for us and we'll give you cash, literally. And some people are saying, hey, you literally got kicked out of government for bribing people last year, and you're campaigning. The center platform of the LDP's campaign this year is, we will bribe you, vote for us and trust us that we've fixed all the bribing. So some people are calling them out on that. But what is kind of standing out in terms of media coverage of the current election, there's not really a lot of hot topics. There are people who perceive that Ishiba as being a bit of a wuss vis-a-vis dealing with Trump. I don't know, though. I mean, dealing with Trump is honestly like dealing with a nuclear reactor. Can you really criticize somebody for just standing there while, this guy goes off and week to week changes his deadlines and targets and says that, Japan is doing things that it's not doing, and and doesn't know anything about what he's saying, and is just, showboating with the tariffs, and kind of, I don't know that Japan could handle that any better than it is. And honestly, all you can really do is weather it. But the fact is, Ishiba is not popular within his own party. He was just there basically to take the fall for the party at a time when nobody wanted to be in charge. And there are rumors that if, as expected, the LDP does terribly this week, which I guess we'll know by next week, maybe that'll be a reason to do a show, actually. But that he could be out. He could be out as party leader by the G7, which I think is mid-August. So, and there are people already talking about who's going to be the next leader of the LDP, because nobody's going to save Ishiba, even though, frankly, I don't think the current situations are really his fault. And frankly, the whole world is dealing with what he's dealing with, and nobody's really dealing with it any better than he is. Frankly, Japan just taking we're just going to be quiet over here while you just continue doing your bullshit approach, I think is the smartest approach. But I don't think it would be different under any other leader. But what has been standing out from the campaign has been the increasingly vocal and visible rhetoric where people have found that using xenophobic rhetoric is starting to give what are traditionally seen as fringe parties traction. This is not something that's new to Japan. This is not something that's new to Europe and America and other countries. It's relatively new to Japan. The whole time I've been here, foreigners have not been that prominent. Where there has been suspicion of foreigners, it's been North Koreans and Chinese primarily, as well as the perennial discrimination against Koreans who sort of live as Japanese, the Zainichi Koreans, with the belief that they have like special benefits or something. And there is definitely strong flavors of that. It's definitely the conspiracy theory crowd is sort of getting more traction basically at the moment, where clearly people are not comfortable with seeing more and more foreigners at the moment. This month had the highest number of visitors Japan has ever had. It actually had something like 2.6 million visitors, I think I heard this morning on the Langley Esquire podcast. So a lot of people just don't feel comfortable with the increasing numbers of foreign. And I tell you, there are a lot of visible foreigners. That said, the foreigners here are amazingly well behaved. I mean, we don't have problems with hooligans or, the problems associated with a lot of visitors coming in other countries, you think about in terms of crime and all that sort of thing. That tends to get blamed on foreigners. That's not happening even with this huge influx of foreigners that we're getting in Japan. So what people are saying is there's a huge thing going around on the internet that 1/3 of recipients of social welfare in Japan are foreigners, which is apparently it prompted the government to look into it and found that the number of foreign, the percentage of people receiving social welfare who are not Japanese citizens is like less than 1%, is like 0.3%. And now everyone's responding, well, any amount is wrong. I'm against any foreigners getting any social welfare. Which again is what a stupid person who doesn't think about anything would say in a moment. But when you've got Japanese people that might have a foreign parent, and let's say a Japanese father and a foreign mother, and the father dies, and that mother is raising a Japanese kid. The mother is a foreign citizen, legal resident in Japan, who in those circumstances would reasonably be entitled to child support for raising and educating the Japanese child who's living in Japan. So the idea, so the percentage of, foreigners claiming social welfare is ridiculously low. And remember, it also includes special permanent residents, literally the Zainichis who are not Japanese citizens in Japan, but who are multi-generational in Japan. But the percentage is ridiculously low. But basically, a lot of political parties are tapping into this, saying that we should do more to regulate the foreigners that we let in here, and we shouldn't be letting them take advantage of our social welfare system. Stuff like this has been said forever in New Zealand and Australia. It's getting traction in America and Europe now. Japan first. Literally, Sanseito is the main party that's coming up with the Japanese people first message, and it's exactly. Somebody asked, a journalist from Japan Times, actually asked on Twitter, "Do we think that they're copying Trump?" And my take on this is no. Trump isn't. I don't think this comes out of Trump. I think Trump just recognizes that this is a way to get votes, and he finds that and he taps into it in just the same way that a lot of populists in a lot of countries right now are tapping into it. And parties in Japan are unfortunately finding out that, yeah, if you tap into irrational racism, you can just make shit up that reinforces people's irrational xenophobic fears, and you can find a well of votes. Fortunately, in Japan, I don't think it results in a lot of votes, but I think the one to look to see how successful this has been will be in the Sanseito vote this week, which I'm hoping remains below the threshold to get party representation. But you know, I get the feeling they're going to get certainly below 5%. They're not going to get, you know, anything too large, but I think they're going to get some seats. They're getting, you know, the any press is good press idea when you've got so many parties. And these people, even though they're straight out lying and are proven to be lying, they are getting like support from people, including a lot of women, actually, who are just feeling uncomfortable with the changes that they're seeing. And this is an aging society. So the result of that is you've had the governor of Tokyo, Koike, as well as every newspaper coming out saying that Japan politicians must stop fueling anti-foreigner sentiment for electoral gains. Yeah, I mean, the fact is, this is really the first time ever in Japan's, well, ever. Pre-World War II, this was a problem in Japan. Japan had rampant xenophobia then. And, you know, we had the anti-Korean massacres in 1923 and stuff like that. But basically, post-war Japan, this is really the first time in post-war Japan that this has been an issue. And I think that a lot of people are overreacting. A lot of foreigners are saying, you know, oh, Japan's turning into Nazi Germany, which I don't think it is. I think the fact it's happening at all is what's gathering the attention. But that said, I guess we'll see how much of an impact it's having next week. And again, you know, it's one of those things is when your parents tell you not to do something, it kind of makes you want to do it. And I think the people who go for this sort of thing, you know, who don't trust government to start with, who don't trust the mainstream media and government, when it's the mainstream media and government are saying, hey, don't be naughty and believe racist things, they're going to think, oh, there's something to it that they don't want us to know. Speaking of racist things, Grok, other than the fact that the Elon Musk's AI baked into Twitter that I do not use anymore declared itself Mecha Hitler this week, you know, and the head of Twitter quit the day after they had a chatbot literally calling itself Hitler. Apparently the new model, which Elon Musk claims to be the smartest AI, you know, highest performant AI ever and beats OpenAI and everything. People, when they're watching its thinking process, like they ask, like, who is correct on the Palestine, you know, Israel issue? It literally looks up, what does Elon Musk think about this when it processes its answers? So no, I'm not going to be giving Elon Musk $300 a month to use its Mecha Hitler, what would Elon say AI? I don't know what kind of benchmark they would be using to claim. I mean, geez, they are spending a ton on training for this. I know they're not using cloud; they're using their own internal supercomputers for this. But oh god, yeah, no, there's a yes. Anybody at all, please make a better AI than this. Anyway. Black Pillred, nice to see you in the chat there. Nice to see a new name. We've got all of this. By the way, quickly looking back at the comments, I'm seeing people talking about pictures of dogs. I have clearly missed something extremely important. So yes. Well, yeah, I'm glad you sleep well at night. Lysander 45, nice to see you. There are dozens of active Sunseito voters who will actively vote, dozens. That's kind of the way I believe it is. But there again, I mean, we'll find out. There've been a few parties like this. There've been a few versions of Sunseito before this who have been, you know, like pretty awful. So we'll see. We'll see. Japanese, I think, respond maybe more trustingly when government and media says these are assholes. But you know, times are changing, and particularly when you look at the situation with the Kobe governor, who was able to get around basically bullying people to death, and was able to basically through controlling the internet narrative, was able to get reelected. So, you know, times are changing even in Japan, but we will see. Yeah, another, just again, people jumping is hot button at the moment to sort of jump on anything relating to foreigners. We have a case where they're changing the rules for driver's licenses because apparently some Chinese tourists found that they could just, in some parts of Japan, depending on where you're from, New Zealand is a place because we drive on the same side of the road as Japan and we have very similar driving laws. You can get a driver's license without needing to take a test. You just come over and literally come up with a translation of your driver's license and they give you a Japanese driver's license. I have a Japanese driver's license that I got without taking a Japanese driver's test. If you're from America, most places you have to take a Japanese driver's test. For some reason, even though China drives on the opposite side of the road, a lot of places in Japan, as part of like friendship initiatives with China, allow Chinese people to come and just get a Japanese driver's license, which has resulted in some Chinese tourists without even a fixed address in Japan being told that they could use their hotel as an address. Showed up, got a Japanese driver's license. Why they would go to a Japanese driver? Just get an international permit. I don't understand this, but apparently without really being able to drive or knowing Japan's road rules or driving on the same side of the road as Japan, we're able to get driver's licenses without a test while on tourist visas, and went out and had crashes driving on the wrong side of the highway and all sorts of stuff. And some people saying this is Japan being too soft on foreigners and we need to crack down on all foreigners. So the government said, oh, well, we're changing the tourists getting instant driver's license transfers. And now I've seen online chat saying we should make everybody take it who hasn't taken a test, take a test. To which I say, I'm a good driver. Okay, look, sometimes it makes sense. And, I think my driving record, I'm a gold Menkyo, which I have a gold bar on my license, which means I've had no traffic infractions for like 20 years. My only traffic infraction was not renewing my license the first time fast enough. But that's been now sufficiently in the past. I have a gold license. There's a joke that everybody in Tokyo has a gold license because we don't drive, hence no speeding tickets or anything like that. And we're actually terrible drivers, even though gold is meant to indicate that we're better drivers. But yeah. But this is just another thing where the government moved super fast on this one to correct it. But it's been a problem. So a paper driver. Yeah, well, technically the New Zealand driver's license used to be actual paper. It was embarrassing to show to people. It's like literally waxed paper. They actually, yeah, it's a card, but I drive when I can. I drove in Italy. I drove in France recently. That was an adventure, although that wouldn't really help for driving in Japan. I drive a couple of times a year, but yeah. Black Pill Period got a seatbelt ticket when you were 17. Kind of funny. I drove in New Zealand. I've been driving since I was 15. New Zealand, I think they've raised the driving age, which I think is correct. Because I did some stupid shit. You put a 15-year-old behind the wheel of a car, and yeah, we're just going to basically treat it like a video game. Yeah. I think raising the age was correct. But I've been driving for a while. I don't think I've ever had more than a speeding ticket, but yes, got to be careful out there. Wow. DJ Sunny set up did an illegal U-turn and got demoted for 1 year before you're going to get gold. Oh, yeah. So down to the blue license. For an illegal U-turn, that sucks. I mean, I hope you at least use the handbrake for it and burn the tires. Make it worthwhile. One thing I hadn't noticed till I read this, normally this time of year, you hear crazy cicadas like going everywhere all the time. I saw a dead cicada tonight, but I haven't been hearing them anywhere. Apparently it's gone from being too rainy for too long to being too hot for too long. The cicadas are just like, they're all sitting underground and just going, no, homie, don't play that. And that is what they are doing this year. But, somebody is saying, oh, I just heard some cicada. I haven't been hearing them. So that is a thing. Go check out the mash that I just made. It is awesome. I say that I made it, but there we go. Am I a licensed elitist? Am I? I might be. Yeah. Somebody said that they graduate. A mayor said that a friend Shizuoka said that she graduated from a certain university. It turned out she was expelled. I mean, how you think that you could get away with that? It's not clear what she got expelled for, but now they're doing a re-election there. Hopefully Sun Sato's not going to win it, but who knows? What else have we got here? We've got ChatGPT. Oh, this is kind of cool. High altitude adventures, like travel spots in Japan based around high altitude. And I had not heard of many of these. So you can do this. I'm not sure I would want to. I'm not like, I don't have serious fear of heights, but I think I would possibly have it from this. This is the bridge between Honshu and Shikoku. And apparently you can climb up. It's normally closed to the public, but okay, there is a special Bridge World experience where you can climb to the top of the main tower, which is 300 meters high, which is pretty close, I think, to Skytree. And I don't know, that looks freaky as hell. So you can do that. That's kind of cool. There's a skywalk along this bridge. That looks pretty cool. This is Shizuoka. Again in Shizuoka, they love getting high in Shizuoka. They have Mount Fuji, but yes, more bridges, kind of freaky rocking bridges. That looks kind of cool. Biwako. This is like already 1,100 meters above sea level. Wow. And you got this view. This looks like Queenstown in New Zealand, actually. That looks pretty cool. You can actually get a zip line. Wow. I would want to do this. The Umeda Sky Building has this observatory from this height, which is cool. I mean, if the downside is you can only see Osaka. Plus, in summertime, honestly, it'd be so hazy it wouldn't look like this. So you probably want to go at a nice time of year, but that is a thing. The Hakodate Ropeway, so 334 meters high. Hakodate and Nagasaki are the two cities in Japan famous for building on hills and stuff like that. So they're quite scenic. Tatema Ropeway, and again, another ropeway. This looks like Switzerland or something. I don't know. This looks really cool. Shibuya Sky, apparently Shibuya Sky, which I don't go near because it's just so chaotic getting to it. But apparently you can like stand on the top and get a view like this, which is like, wow, I've never done that. I want to do that. So I want to check out all of these. These are really, really cool. So this was on nippon.com. I think it's the most recent article that they did, so it's worth checking out. I put this in the title, so I'm going to make this the final topic maybe for tonight. But there's this gray zone harassment. Workers who considered, and I read this and honestly, this kind of reads like, well, half of this are things where it's done like deliberately to make Peter kind of like bully people and make them want to quit. But yeah, Jane Motz, no, vote for DJ Sunny Side Up. Vote for what you like. Honestly, I'm happy when people vote for DJ Sunny Side Up as much as myself. It's actually we both enjoy doing the voting thing. So no worries at all. Oh, you're apologizing to DJ Sunny Side Up, but nearly voted for it. Yeah, oh, that's right. You voted for me. Yeah, but seriously, yeah. So don't be sorry. You voted for me. Come on. Anyway, the things that they talk about, unpleasant attitudes such as size, tongue clicking, or not returning greetings. I would say they're not returning greetings. I've been in companies where people don't do that. I've had bosses that do this. And I think there have been moments where I've dealt with people as a manager and I like, it's an involuntary reaction sighing sometimes. So maybe I've done it myself. But forced participation in drinking sessions, comments based on past customs, personal values or prejudices. Honestly, this all coercion to answer private questions. This sounds like working at a normal Japanese company. And internal regulations needed to curb gray zone behavior. So this is basically looking at manners, business manners, in terms of good behavior manners that are not really currently policed. This is the Sanseito guy who's getting votes from being racist. There you go. And oh yeah, if you're flying in Japan or to Japan, apparently there's been those power banks, the batteries that you carry. Apparently one of those in the overhead compartment in a bag started a fire on a plane. Not a good place for a fire. So going forward, Japan Airlines, pretty much all airlines in Japan are requiring people to keep their power banks and their batteries in the bag, basically on them. They can't put them in the overhead. So they have to either put them in their own personal pocket or in a bag that's by their feet while you're flying in Japan. So if you're traveling to Japan, bear that in mind. And that is pretty much it. Yeah, Mount Fuji just opened for business this week. You can actually start climbing now. So that is a thing. And that is about it. Those are all the topics this week. Exactly 1 hour, 58 minutes and 8 seconds. I'm going to go and get ready for the after party where you can pick the songs. Thanks again to everyone who's supporting the Tokyo Digital Crew stuff. That is a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. I appreciate everybody keeping me company on that. Final look at the comments. We've got DJ Aaron's got the link to the this is the video from earlier. And also, if you go over there right now, the live stream is about to start. After party link. Thank you for that. Thank you, everybody. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, remember, hydrate, drink water. Don't let the heat get you. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, stay warm. If you're in Brisbane, let me know if you're interested in a meetup when I'm there in August and even in Korea next week. And I will probably put out on Twitter or I'll do a YouTube post whether I'll be able to do. I will either do a show on Saturday, but if I have plans on Saturday, I won't. So pencil in that Tokyo Tonight will be on Saturday if I do it. Otherwise, I'll just skip next week. So, anyway, thank you for keeping me company and keeping up with what's going on in Japan. The rest of the world, just ignore it. Don't worry about all the politics and BS happening in other countries. Japan is still well, for now, it's still sane and normal. We'll see how it does after the election this week. Hope you enjoyed this. Remember, you can follow me in all the things, including Instagram and so on, which I'm also enjoying, as well as Blue Sky and all of that. And take care, and I'll see you in the after party right now, if not, hopefully next week or the week after when I'm back from my trip. Boom. Peace. Oh yeah, Japan beat Wales. Oh, Japan lost to Wales this week, and they beat Wales last week. I didn't put that in the topics here. Well, anyway, rugby. Anyway, after party. Let's go. 10 seconds, and I can finish within an hour. Whew.